Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Will Wakeling in San Diego. I'm a member of a couple of groups out here. Senior Computer Group of San Diego, which we have a couple hundred people in it, and we meet every Saturday morning. In fact, I wasn't able to go this morning at 9:30, and we get about 50, 60, 70 people out every Saturday, so it's really good. And another group called Under the Computer Head User Group, which was Greg Skalka you just heard on the previous presentation. My presentation today is on Easy Desktop. As I say, it's a terrible name, but a great program. It's been around for ages. It started out actually as Easy DOS, DOS. That was back in the 80s. And it's been going ever since with all the upgrades to Windows. And it's finally out with a final program now that I use actually with Windows 7. I haven't tried it with 8, but I'm pretty sure it'll work with Windows 8. The reason for it is I really hate icons. I was dragged kicking and screaming into Windows when they first came out with the icons because I was really a DOS guy. I love the command line, but then finally I did learn to appreciate some of the icons. They are nice for certain things. But frankly, if you use more than like half a dozen programs every day and try to go to your desktop and you find your desktop is loaded with literally dozens or even as many as a couple hundred programs, trying to find the one you want can be a real pain. This Easy Desktop essentially replaces the icon desktop of Windows. And we can see that as we go through here. Hello. I guess I moved to the next screen now. Okay. Yet another desktop. Yeah, there is a zillion of them out there. Maybe not so many right now, but when Windows first came out, I think there were many, many different types of desktops out there that you could do. And again, why do you want one? Well, I want one because I literally detest icons, particularly when I have a zillion of them on my desktop. I find it very hard to navigate if I just have icons on my desktop. I suppose if I took the time to organize them better on my desktop, it would be easier, but frankly, I'm a little bit too lazy to do that. Again, if you can read, you don't need icons. However, I do find that there are certain icons that I do like to use. Some of the standard ones like, print is very nice to have an icon for. Save with the little small floppy disk is a nice icon to have. And there are a couple others that are really nice. But otherwise, if I look at an icon on my desktop and it's not something I'm familiar with, I literally have to right-click under it and read what it says that particular icon is. So it's not helping me really to have those icons. So let's take a look at this Easy Desktop. I keep trying to click on the screen, but that's not the way to move, I see now. All right, here is my desktop on my main machine. Actually, I'm working on my wife's machine right now, so it doesn't have this particular desktop. But as you can see, I don't know how many things I've got on here. 2, 4, 6, 7 by 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I must have, close to 100 icons on it. Now, trying to find something that I'm not used to finding is almost impossible. How in the world do you find something on a desktop like this? And the answer is, I can't, so I don't use it. But I don't know how your desktop looks, and if you use the Windows desktop, this happens to be Windows 7, and I'm not sure. I've seen Windows 8. I have Windows 8. I have not installed it yet, mainly because I have everything working on 7, and it works great, and frankly, I don't want to move to something new and different right now. I'm getting too old to try something new, I guess. But one of these days, I am going to have to switch to it. And when I do, I'm hoping that this Easy Desktop will work. Since it runs as a program under Windows 7, I'm pretty certain that it will run as a program under Windows 8. Again, I'm not positive of this, but I'm pretty certain that it will work. Okay, here's our famous GUI, Graphical User Interface, that apparently Apple stole from Xerox. But and it works, and a lot of people are very, very happy with it. And I can understand why. The command line was mainly for geek users, I guess. Although if you're used to it, you could do some very fancy things very quickly with the command line. I guess the main command line guys moved to Linux now, and now Linux has moved to the GUI user interface, so it's a big reversal there. But if you're frustrated with icons and you think that the words mean more than pictures, and the icons can be kind of confusing, then you'll like this Easy Desktop, because it is strictly words, but you can put as many words in there as you want to identify what the program is. As I said earlier, there are certain useful icons that I do like and I do use. For instance, the Save icon, the Print, the File Explorer, various tools. You know, when it comes up with the gear, clicking on Tools is pretty much a universal icon. And of course the Internet icons, they're very useful. Just an aside, I was trying to do a backup using True Image, I guess. And I was trying to find out how to restore a file. And I would go to their help menus and all that, and never did I find exactly how, except it said, go to the file, restore. Well, I looked all over the screen for File Explorer, File Restore, I mean. I couldn't find it anywhere. Finally, in frustration, I clicked on Tools, the little gear in the upper right-hand corner. Sure enough, up came a sub-menu that said File Restore. Well, you know, somewhere they should have told me that in all the help menus, but for some reason, a lot of these help menus will tell you to click on a particular entry or tab, but they never tell you how to get to that particular tab, which may be buried, you know, down 2 or 3 levels deep. So that's one of my gripes that I have with some of the help menus and help files. Okay, here's Easy Desktop. I'll show it to you in a minute, but it has 9 pages of menus, which you can name as you like, and each page has 72 buttons on it. So, you know, the product of that is 648 buttons. I guess if you need more than that, you probably shouldn't be using Easy Desktop. I don't know what you should be using if you have more than 648 programs or whatever that you want to get to. But it's really nice in that you can customize all of these pages. You can customize all of the buttons. They can be color controlled, color coded, so that you can very quickly tell what a particular button is. There are a lot of really neat things you can do within this Easy Desktop. As I said, you have nine pages. Now, what I do is I name each page as a major category. Like my page 1 is all of my utilities that I might use. Page 2 is all the internet stuff that I go to, the various browsers, various internet-related programs that I might use. You can even put URLs on there if you want to have them outside of your actual browser. I have a page specifically for financial information. Not only sorry, I dropped the microphone. Not only the financial data, but I also keep, you know, like Excel on there and any other programs that might be financially related. I have a page specifically for word processing with all the various word processing programs and even documents on there that I might go to. I have a page specifically for media, for various photographs, photo programs, anything related to media. And I keep one strictly for burning and things. But again, that's only, what, 1, 2, 3, 6, and I've got 3 more, and I guess I have those allocated for something else. Oh, I have one strictly for projects. It's really nice. Any projects I have, I put on that page. Now, each page now has all these buttons, and you can identify the buttons with different colors, and I have it set up such that all my programs, I color them green. If I have specific documents or things that run under a specific program, then I color them blue. And you can even have folders, which is very convenient to bring up a particular folder, and I color those orange so that I can find them. And then you can change the text color within the button color. So, you know, for instance, if you're running a dark blue document, a black text doesn't look too good. But so I changed that to white. And oh, and by the way, various drives I color those blue, but I'm sorry, yellow. So we'll look at those a little bit later on. Here's a typical Easy Desktop page. Okay, this is my page number 1, which I call Utilities. Now notice in the upper left-hand corner, it says Utilities, 1-Utilities. So I know that it's page 1. I know that that page contains utilities. I'm a little bit lax on, is it exactly utilities? Yeah, I try to keep most of them there. I suppose I could organize this page better, and we'll look at how you do organize these things a little bit later. But I can immediately see all the programs which are in green. I can immediately see the folders which are in orange, so I can find specific folders that I might want. I noticed that at the top of the 3rd column over, it says C Program Files. That really should be a folder. That really should be orange, and I don't know why I made it yellow to start with. But my various drives are yellow, and they're in the 2nd column over from the left. And so I can get very quickly to these various drives without bringing up Windows Explorer. Do I have any? I don't have any documents. Yeah, I do have one, what I call a document, and it's in the right-hand column called Web Alarm Clock. I guess I call that a utility mainly because, you know, if I need to set an alarm and I'm on the computer, and excuse me, and very often I get carried away and forget what time it is and I miss an appointment. So I set an alarm clock so it'll beep and let me know I should get off the computer and go do whatever I'm supposed to go do. At the top of the page, you will see some icons, and we'll cover those in a later page. But there are some icons, and they're very convenient icons to use. Down in the lower right-hand corner, you will see the numbers 1 through 9. Those are the various pages that you go to, and you can get to them several different ways. Of course, just click on those blue buttons will take you to the specific page you want. We'll cover how you can get to different pages. There are probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 different ways you can get to these other pages very easily. I just use the scroll wheel on my mouse to do it, and it works pretty well. Oh, also notice that down in the lower left-hand corner, it says, "Good afternoon, Master." Well, you can set up whatever text you wanted to say down in there. Notice that it keeps track of the time, so it knows it's afternoon. When I fire this up in the morning, I guess it'll say, "Good morning, Master." Have it say whatever you want. Really neat. You can also, on these buttons, as you click on the buttons, it will say different things down in that window if you want it to say specific items, some cues for you, or some reason you want additional information when you click on a button. But this is a typical easy desktop page. As I say, there are 9 of these things, so you have a lot of control over what you want to do. Okay, here are the buttons. These buttons, like what I have, the green ones, they will link to programs. And they will either link using a link that's on your actual Windows desktop and use the LNK, I guess that's the extension, link route to get to it, or you can put in a specific full file description to get to it. So there are different ways you can do that. Of course, you have disk drives and folders that you can put in there. As I showed, my disk drives are yellow and my folders are orange. Various documents. And again, when I say documents, I don't mean just, like text documents. It could be, for instance, an Excel file. It could be a PowerPoint file. It's whatever piece of data that a particular program will use. Because when you click on that, like Windows, it will automatically bring up the program that runs it. So I put all kinds of documents and various programs and code them in blue. Buttons can link to photos, audio files, video files. It turns out that almost anything that you can link to, you can put as a button. It's really, really convenient. Spreadsheets, databases, those can be linked to it. You can even link to URLs if you need to. I keep all of my URL links usually up on my browser, so I don't need them on Easy Desktop. But whatever you can think of that you want to link to, you can even just put notes in, I suppose. It will show up down in that lower left-hand corner. I don't see any reason that you might want to do that, but it's flexible enough that you can do almost anything you want to do with it. I find it very, very easy to use. Now, how do you populate these pages? Well, you number and name the pages, and you can, the titles you can have left justified, centered, or right justified. I always center the particular titles, and I use a white background and black text on it and put it in the upper left-hand corner so that I know what page I'm on and what the page category is. And you assign a page a major category, and as we discussed earlier, these are the various kinds of categories that I use. Fully flexible. However you want to set it up, you can do that. Then to edit the button, this is where it gets a little more complex, but not really too tough. You right-click the button. When you right-click the button, you get a drop-down menu. Unfortunately, I couldn't show that because I tried to copy that thing, and it went away whenever I clicked on it. But we can see that later on when we actually look at Easy Desktop. But you right-click it, and then click on Edit. And at that point, up comes a nice little window that allows you to do full editing. You can name, first thing you do is name the button, whatever title you want to put on it, and that's what shows up on the button. And then to make the link, there are several ways to do that. And a really easy way to do it is you can drag and drop it from the Windows desktop. Just go back to your Windows desktop. Easiest way, of course, is the Windows D combination. Gets you back to your desktop. Just grab the icon of the program that you want. Hold down your left mouse button. Drag it down to your taskbar. In the taskbar, the Easy Desktop icon will be down there. drag it to the Easy Desktop icon. At that point, the Easy Desktop window will open up. While you're holding down the left drag button, just drag it back up to the button you want and release it. That will automatically put both the title and the link in the button. Now, unfortunately, that puts the desktop link to it. That doesn't put the true file path in there. But it works. You know, it's the same as if you were clicking on the icon on your desktop. I like to put the true full path in there, and you can do that easily by browsing from the edit window. And we'll go through that too. Okay, here is the edit button. And here's what happens when you click on edit. It comes up, tells you what button number it's doing. By golly, 292? That's hard to believe, but I guess it's true. And in this particular one, the button title is Microsoft Word 2013. Notice that in the upper right-hand corner, you have options on how to launch it. Either launch it normally, whatever the default is, or launch it full screen or minimize. So you do have those options. Usually I keep it normal default, so whatever the last window setup was, it'll go to that. Then comes the command line. That's the one that's important. You'll notice that in this one I have the full file path in there. I have C programs, files, Microsoft Office 15, root, blah, 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 blah. And you get there via the Browse button on the right-hand side. If you click on that, it essentially brings up Windows Explorer. Not the actual Explorer, surprisingly. It brings up a built-in Explorer that's built into this Easy Desktop. I noticed the other day when I tried to bring in something, it couldn't find it. I don't know why it wouldn't find that particular thing. I guess what I was looking for was a microphone recorder. Somehow it wouldn't find that. It would jump over that in this browser, and I still don't understand why. I may have to go back and ask the author of this program why that doesn't find it. And you can put in additional things. Notice the third window down says parameters, document, file, startup, switches. If you need those sort of things, you can put it in there. I haven't ever found a case where I needed to use that. I'm sure there are situations where you do. And working, the fourth one down, of course, is the default working folder. Again, I haven't any found a use to do that. Normally I just use those top two windows, the title and the command line. But as you can see, there are a lot of additional functions that you can do with this menu button. The next one down says description, display at the bottom left of the screen. Now that's where you might put some additional information about that particular program. For instance, if you have a password that you need to have for it, or some other thing that you need to have, you can type that in there. And even below that, the last window down, called prompt, display when the item is launched, I guess is some more information. As I say, I only use those top two windows. I rarely, in fact, I haven't been known to use any of these others down below. Going down further to the bottom left of the window, you'll see center the button title. I use that mainly for naming the pages. I like to have the title centered. It's not necessary for other things. And again, you can launch a particular program at Easy Desktop Startup. I find no reason to do that because usually, you know, my boot sequence contains several programs that I automatically start, so I don't see. And Easy Desktop, of course, is the main program that I do start, that I launch upon booting the computer. So you can do that. Oh, notice, of course, once you get that, just click on OK or cancel. But there is a macro capability. I have never used this. So I don't know exactly how to use a macro with these. I used to love macros when I was doing DOS work because those script files were wonderful. And I see a help button on the right, which there are several ways you can get to help. But this is the standard window that you will see when you want to populate a particular button on your desktop. Very powerful. Now, to organize these buttons, very easy to organize them. You just drag and drop them. Literally anywhere on the page, just grab it and drag it and drop it. Copy and paste them if you want to. You can even drag and drop between pages. If you drag it over to the right-hand margin, it goes to the next page over. If you drag it to the left-hand margin, it goes to the previous page. So in fact, certain programs, I keep the same program on several pages. I always use this program called, what's it called, XCopy2, I think it's called, because I always like to, when I'm copying files, I hate using Windows Explorer, because then I have to have two instantiations of it, and it's kind of a mess. This little free program called XCopy2 brings up a dual pane Explorer, which you can drag and drop items back and forth between them. And I use it all the time. And I use it so often that I keep a copy of that, or keep a button for that, always in the lower left or right-hand corner of my page. So almost every page has that particular program on it. Very, very useful to use. Of course, you can delete buttons if you want to. You can change the button colors. You can change the text color. I think you can even change the text font. I say that without actually having tried it recently, but I think there is a version of that. So lots of flexibility in being able to organize your pages. And believe me, moving these buttons around and moving the page between pages is really, really nice. I really like doing that. Now page selection, going from page 1 to page 8, I use a scroll wheel, and it just flips back and forth. It will wrap around, so if you get up to page 9, the next one up is page 1, and vice versa. If you're down to 1 backwards, it will take you to 9. So you can move around the pages very quickly, very easily, and if you kind of memorize what the categories are onto the pages, and since I always know that my documents are page 5, so I go to that very quickly, either by clicking on the page 5 down at the bottom. Also, your function keys work, apparently. I haven't tried that, but apparently function keys 1 through 9 work. The radio buttons, the arrows at the bottom right we talked about, and in the menu way at the top, apparently under the option page, you can go to different pages from there. I don't find that necessary. Again, scroll wheel is probably the easiest way to do it. If you have a mouse with a scroll wheel, that works great. Function keys work great also. But as I say, there are at least 4 ways that you can jump around in different pages. I expect also probably the left and right arrow keys on your keyboard will take you to different pages too. Not sure about that. We'll have to look at that and see if that really works. This program has lots of stuff built into it that I have been using it for years. Literally, I started using it back with Easy DOS, which, what's that, 1980? Is that 35 years, 34 years ago? Gee, hard to believe. Time does fly. But I've been using it ever since those days and doing the updates whenever a new operating system comes out. And the author, Dennis Needleloff, who lives here near San Diego, has been updating it. This program used to cost, I don't know, $45, $50, I guess, initially. But we'll talk about the cost of it a little bit later. Okay, here are the icons. We talked about this before. These are at the top of the Easy Desktop page. From the left is a power button, which is the same as the power button that you have from the Blue Globe search big Windows button at the bottom. But I don't know, I tend to use it. You can do shut down or hibernate or whatever you want. It has a reboot button. I don't see any reason why he put that there other than he didn't want to put it under power. The find button is semi-useless. That just finds things on your easy desktop page. The panel button is wonderful. The gear, that essentially is your control panel. But frankly, it is organized much better than the standard control panels by Windows. I use that all the time. Next one over, Explorer, is your standard Windows Explorer, and I think it is the pure standard Explorer. Next one over, Space. That's really nice. You click on that, and it shows all of your drives and the space used and open. And it saves having to go to each drive, right-clicking, going to Properties to find out how much space is there. One click on this Space button shows every drive, including flash drives that you have connected, external drives you have connected, shows you the space situation for those. Next one over is Setup. Setup is for setting up Easy Desktop, and it has all kinds of options in there, which I won't go into because there's so many of them that just, if you get this program, click on it, you'll find it. There are a lot of options that you can set up. It has a good help file along with it, if you have any problems with it, to help. Mail is your default mail program. Somehow it knows what your default mail program is. I was surprised that it knew that. I didn't have to tell it that, but I guess you can go in and actually change it if you need to. And it will find your default web browser. And the furthest one on the right page, again, that's where you want to go to different pages 1 through 9. I never use that at all. It's not a useful thing for me. But these are the icons which I feel are useful. And I guess once you get used to seeing the icons, you don't have to read the words. But in most cases, I like reading the descriptions better. This just is a recap of what we just discussed about how to shut down. Or this find is not useful because all it does is find things on the Easy Desktop. Usually you know where they are, but in case you need to find it, I haven't ever tried that out. I expect it's a text search. So you just type in the text of your button, or even part of it, and it'll go find it. The control panel we talked about, very, very convenient control panel. We can look at that when we go to the actual Easy Desktop demo. Windows File Explorer, standard File Explorer, and we talked about the disk space. That is really a very, very convenient icon. And the setup has lots of features, and the help, of course, we talked about. And your default emailed internet and page jumping to different pages. Okay, here's page 1 of my Easy Desktop, which I guess we looked at earlier. Yeah, that's just my one. But notice that I put on here, like here's a title over here on the right in white, Weekly Maintenance. These are the items that I use every Saturday and Sunday when I want to back up my computer. I run all these sort of programs to clean them up and get it ready for backup. I'm surprised I don't have my backup program on here. I keep that on a separate page. And I normally use Acronis for my backup. We've been looking at various backup programs at our seniors computer group and have looked at several of them. Probably the one which we find very useful is called I don't know how you pronounce it. I think it's probably a Chinese or Japanese one. Easy US to do. EASE PUSTODO. I don't know if it's to do or Todo or whatever it might be, but it's a free program you can download. It has a lot of nice features on it that we've been looking at. But these are various programs that I use. By the way, if you guys have conduit problems, which many of us do, really slows down your computer. This ADW cleaner is very, very good, but make sure you go get it from a qualified website and don't get it from some guy that wants to send you a bunch of junkware along with it, or even malware along with it. So those are the kind of things that I run before I do a backup. Notice that down in this lower right where it says Explorer 2, that's my dual Windows Explorer window that I use for copying things back and forth. Very, very powerful program. Free program, just go do a search on Dual Explorers or whatever and find Explorer. I think it's called Explorer X2. I'm not sure, but it's sort of like that. Notice that I do have some folders called out. All my downloads, just click on this. It brings up the download folder for me. Find all my downloads. My recycle bin, I can find these things very quickly on a couple of drives. And I can get to all my different drives very easily with these yellow buttons. Here is another page. What's this one? Okay, this is my word processing page. And I keep up here all of my particular WPs that I use and certain documents that I might use that are word related. Okay, here is, I'm not going to go through all of them. Here's the last page I have. This essentially is my DVD stuff. I keep my burners on here. I keep certain labels that I make, CD labels and things like that. And again, notice down in the lower right-hand corner, there's my Explorer 2 that I always need, and I always put it down there to get to it very quickly. Okay, program installation. It installs very quickly from the disk, or the easiest thing to do is go to this website, which is microseconds.com. Their website, you can download it from there. Then you can assign the settings that you want and have it load upon boot. So that's really easy to do. And okay, we're going to go actually look at some of these things, and I thank you for your attention. But let me show you something. I got in touch with Dennis Niederloff this morning, as a matter of fact, and I asked him, when did you first write this program? And he came back to me and he said, I did it with Easy DOS back in the 80s. And then he came along and he said, guess what? And I'm going to show you something here. And this is a button I just put up on my page 5, EasyDT offers. And he came up and said, this launches Word for me, launches that particular document for me, and you'll need a paper and pencil. Oh, that's interesting. What is this saying? Come on. Okay. What this says is, if you go to www.microseconds.com/?iProduct equals 2050 for $10, you can have this program. Normally he charges, I think 20 or 30, but he said today, if you'll go to that particular website, put it in, pay for it with PayPal, he will send you an email with a link to being able to download this program, and frankly, it's a great deal, folks, so you might try that. But notice how nice it was to have a button that just brings this document up. I don't have to go searching for it or anything. It's really nice. All right, we're let me go back to our presentation. Can we now go to my desktop? Maybe you didn't see
Yeah,
that.
we can give you a way to go to your desktop. Give me a second here.
Okay, why don't you switch over? I don't think that previous thing showed up. Did
Not
it?
yet.
A Word document?
To go to your desktop, let me give you a button, okay? If I give you a button,
Sure.
you'll click on Share My Screen, and then you'll be able to go to your everybody will see your desktop. Keep my fingers crossed.
All right. There.
It was a little, the last
I
presenter
say
needed it
right?
too, so I'm getting a lot of practice. All right, so now everybody's seeing your colorful desktop.
Okay, let's, yeah, this is my desktop. Now, what I did earlier, I've got a program up in this upper right-hand corner. It says EDT offer. Can you see that? If I click on that, it brings up Word, and Word then brings up that particular document for some reason. Okay, here is the link that you can go to get this particular program for $10, specifically for the folks that are watching this presentation. So if you want to copy and paste that or whatever you want to do, microseconds.com, iProduct 2050. I don't know what the 2050 means unless he doesn't know what year this is. But he was kind enough to offer this for $10. So is this something that you can highlight and copy? I don't know. I think you should be able to if this is on your computer. Okay, we're on my Easy Desktop now. I guess, let me ask you, can you hear me?
We hear you just fine,
but
be sure to speak up.
Okay. All right, can you see this Easy Desktop page 5 called Word Processing -5?
Okay, we see it. It's a little, the font's kind of small, but it's there.
Okay, you don't have a full screen? You don't see a full screen of it, apparently. Okay. Well, you'll notice on this that I have, for instance, certain presentations I have on here, PPX. These various blue things are presentations that will bring up PowerPoint. But let's look at how we might add something. Do we have time? We're up to almost 45 minutes. If I can take, a couple of minutes more, I'll show you how we would physically add something to.
You go right ahead. There's no problem. There's no questions at the minute, and I answered a couple for you. So go ahead.
Okay. All right. Here is a new page. I have a couple things on here I practice with called Google Earth. But let's say I wanted to add Google Earth to this particular page. I would right-click that button. I'm going to show you the easier way. I hit cancel here. If I go down to my desktop, which I get to via Windows D, and I grab Google Earth here at the top, I left-click and hold it and drag it down to my taskbar, and I put it on the Easy Desktop. Then I bring it back up again and drop it there. Now if I right-click that and go to Edit Button, you will see what it put in. Automatically it put in Google Earth, but notice it put in my links from my desktop. I don't particularly like doing that. That'll work. That'll bring up Google Earth. But if I say OK, that's fine. And now I can right-click and say Button Color, and I can call that blue because that's an actual. No, that's an actual program, I guess. I'm going to call it green. So that comes up green. Now here is where I actually put in a link. If I right-click that and say Edit the button, notice there is the full path link to it. I went out and got that via this Browse button. If you click on the Browse button, notice it brings up the browse. It's already there. The full file path under Programs x86, Google Earth Client, and Google Earth is on here somewhere. Google Earth EXE, there it is right there. So anyway, that's how it works, and I guess my time is essentially up. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you'll take advantage of this $10 offer. You'll find this program to be very useful if you have a lot of icons on your desktop. Thank you. How do I get back to, I don't want to share my screen. Okay. All right, are we finished?
Well, that was a great presentation, Will, and we really appreciate it. He's left you much information, and we'll put his slides up in about a week, including his YouTube
Okay.
video.
I don't know if everybody got that free, not free, but got the $10 deal. I put it up on the screen, and hopefully people copied it. I can add that to the presentation.
You can, but in the meantime, Judy put it in the text notes. And
I noticed that, yeah. And I didn't make it clear that there is a free version, one-page free version, but actually the $10 deal is much better.
Yeah,
full
so a bunch of people were talking about that in the text chat, so it'll show up there. And also, people will be able to view all your slides and your voice speech in about a week.
Okay. All right, Judy is asking, is the offer only good today? I think as long as you put in that code, it's good.
Can you check with this gentleman and find out, and then email me and Judy?